To match your mask.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, October 6th, 2020, and we are here for town board meeting. As always, we will begin with the pledge. Frank, can you please take the lead?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Frank.
Also, in keeping with our tradition of having a faith-based invocation, I have for us today Pastor Andrew Montoro, Community Baptist Church. Thank you, Pastor, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come before you this morning and we thank you for the opportunity that we can seek the guidance and the wisdom that we need from you. Lord, we just pray as the town council meets that you would give them the wisdom that they need to make the decisions. Lord, we pray for your protection on the people of the town with the virus, and that we would see you give us the grace and the wisdom that we need moving forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor. Before we get started, we just have one announcement. As most of you know by now, while we remain under state of emergency due to COVID-19, all public participation in town meetings and public hearings will be accomplished through Zoom, except as otherwise noted. People may reach out to us and ask if they can come in person, and we will clear them. Accordingly, the public may watch today's meeting on television on Channel 22, or logging into the Town of Riverhead website and using the, you can also use the Zoom credentials that are posted on the town website to communicate with us today. Moving forward, Councilwoman Giglio, you have asked to make a presentation on behalf of our board. This will be something that we're going to be doing for the next 4 weeks. Each member will select a person who they feel has provided distinction in our community, has supported our community, and the first presentation will be this week by Councilwoman Giglio, and next week it'll be followed by Councilman Hubbard, and then Councilwoman Catherine Kent, Councilman Bayrod, and myself thereafter. Jody?
Yes. So, my person that I'm choosing is going to echo the sentiments of Senator Ken LaValle, where every year the New York State Senate honors a woman of distinction, and this year they selected Denise Civiletti. And I've known Denise since January of 2010 when I took office, and she and her husband started Riverhead Local, and they have been a great source of news for the community and members of Riverhead Town. And many others now. I think they're up to 26,000 viewers, something like that. So they've really built a great product into keeping the community educated on what's happening in Town Hall. And Denise has been honored as a veteran reporter, editor, attorney, as well as former Riverhead Town Councilman, and has been recognized nationally as a pioneer of independent online community journalism. She's the first independent all-digital news media outlet to be accepted for membership in the New York Press Association. Riverhead Local provides accurate, timely local news for the community, keeps citizens of the east end of Long Island informed about important issues, and tells the story of people who live and work here. Denise has been honored with numerous awards, including the New York Press Association Writer of the Year, as well as the Thomas G. Butson Award for investigative, in-depth reporting. So the town board, because Denise has remarkably demonstrated the qualities of integrity, hard work, dedication, and service to others throughout her life, and has enhanced the lives of those who know her through her wealth of experience, knowledge, and contributions. So the supervisor on the town board would like to present this proclamation to Denise. We congratulate you, Denise, on all of your achievements throughout your life. There are many that we probably couldn't fit on 10 pages of this proclamation if we tried, but the town board does appreciate what you do, and we have books that will be in the lobby so that when we do open up, Denise is on a page in the book for the 2020 Women of Distinction, and congratulations from myself and from the town board.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Giglio, members of the town board. Thank you to Senator Lavelle and his staff. I really appreciate this very, very much, and I thank you for acknowledging it in this way. Thank you, Jody.
Okay, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. You're the first woman to ever receive the honorary award from the town of Riverhead.
Mhm.
So hopefully this will be an annual thing, and you're the first one to receive it.
Oh, the awards that you're doing, yeah, I didn't know anything about this, so I'd like to hear from you.
So
Yeah.
I think that Tim will be honoring somebody next week, and then Catherine and Frank in subsequent weeks, so you're the first one. Congratulations.
Very good. Well, thank you so much.
You're
All right,
welcome.
back to work.
Thank you. Yes.
That's very typical.
Denise, we know what your next story is gonna be.
Well, there's never a shortage of anything to write about in Riverhead. That's for sure. Thank you.
I was just gonna say how much you love our town.
Okay, so moving forward, can I have a first and a second to approve the town board minutes from the regular scheduled town board meeting on September 1st and September 15th, as well as the special town meeting on October 1st?
So moved.
Seconded?
Bayrock,
Please?
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. I'll just move into
Okay,
correspondence.
moving, yes, Diane, thank you. And
Okay.
moving forward, do we have any communications or
Yes.
reports?
Under correspondence, a letter from Steve Marcus making a request for the continuation of loose leaf pickup. A letter from EPCAL Watch Coalition, actually two. One is just to clarify their policies and procedures, and the other is comments on the EPCAL contract. John McAuliffe also sent a clarification letter regarding his comments on gambling at EPCAL, and that's to be his own comments and not that of the EPCAL Watch Coalition.
Okay.
John McAuliffe also sent another letter with questions and comments regarding the contract with EPCAL. Brian Carroll sent a letter questioning the 2021 tentative budget items. Also, that was it for correspondence. And then under fire district notices, all four of our fire districts, Riverhead, Manorville, Jamesport, and Wading River, sent in their public hearing notices with their proposed 2021 budgets. And those are online if anybody wants to view those. Under reports, the building department submitted their September 2020 monthly report, $46,880. The police department submitted their August 2020 monthly report. And the 2021 proposed budgets for Riverhead IDA and Riverhead Economic Job Development Corporation were turned in. Town clerk's September 2020 monthly report was $19,002.20. And that is all I have.
Great, thank you, Diane. Moving forward, we will now begin the public hearing portion of today's meeting. The hearing was scheduled for 2:05, at the current time it's 2:13 p.m. We are opening a public hearing to hear all the interested persons regarding an alleged unsafe structure at 168 Creek Road in Wading River, Suffolk County, tax map number 600-29-1-30.1 pursuant to chapter 217, part 4. Bob Kasikevich, our town attorney, Ken Tesla, our assistant engineer, and Richard Down, our head of code enforcement, were all behind this effort. So I'll ask Bob to please come forward and explain to the public the circumstances of this location.
Yeah, before I make any comments with respect to the matter, I wanted to note that a few folks weren't aware that it was by Zoom. So we have 3 residents of the Creek Road area who are present, and we have a representative who is here on behalf of the property owner.
Bob, if I could just interject for a second, they did show up earlier.
Correct.
We did clear them, and they
Right.
all been screened.
Correct.
And so
Yes.
we're allowing them under
Yes.
these circumstances.
Subject
Thank
to
you.
social distancing, subject to wearing a mask,
Yes.
and seating where so indicated in the audience, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, so yes, as you pointed out, the goal is to address a structure at 168 Creek Road. We are addressing it under Chapter 217, Part 4, which had been known as Chapter 454 in the past. We all knew it as a Chapter 54 hearing, which is done in order to determine whether it should be boarded up or demolished. I'm going to have testimony first from Town Investigator Richard Downs. After he completes his testimony, I will then have Assistant Town Engineer Kenneth Testa offer testimony. I don't know, they indicated they might want to offer testimony to the neighbors as to the condition of the premises and the way it's existed as well. If they do, I'm hoping that we'll just let them testify in a narrative fashion so they don't have to be asked a question and answer type of format. Before we start, I do have a number of exhibits that I am going to ask to be made part of the record. Some of them will be introduced through Mr. Downs, one will be introduced through Ken Testa. The 3 that I'd like the board to accept and admit into evidence are the following. Exhibit 1, which is a copy of a letter from the town clerk, dated September 16th, 2020. It was sent in accordance with the resolution which called for this hearing. It attaches the notice of the hearing, and I'd like to have that marked as Exhibit 1 as it's an official record of the town of Riverhead and by the town clerk. If there's no objection?
No, it's
Okay.
on this side.
The second one is, we have a certified copy of a deed. I'm going to ask that the copy, which has the indication that it's a certified copy, it was certified as of March 29th, 2012. It's a certified copy of a deed that was in Liber 12689, page 152. This was provided to us from the Suffolk County Clerk's office. It is a certified copy of a deed that was recorded in that office on March 29th, 2012. The date of the deed is February 15th, 2012, and it indicates that the last owner of record is the following: Arong Fong Huang. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, so I'm going to spell it: RONG FANG HUANG. And again, as this is an official record and came from the Suffolk County Clerk's office, I'd ask that this be admitted as Exhibit 2. Last but not least, because I know that there were some questions raised by residents as well as some others, I have a copy of the Statement of Real Property Taxes for this year, 2019 through November 30, 2020, from the office of Lori A. Zaneski, an official here in the town of Riverhead, that shows that the property taxes were paid in full, and those were paid in full on January 10th, 2020 by an individual, LITANG HUANG. I want to make also one further, and I'd ask that that be admitted as Exhibit 3, again, an official record of the town of Riverhead. The last thing I'd like to note is I did hear, in fact, today from Ms. Lee Tang, HUANG, who represented, she's the wife of the last owner of record. I don't have independent verification that she is in fact the wife, but she represented that. She stated her husband passed away in 2012 in Taiwan, and he passed without a will, which may explain some of the difficulties we've had trying to reach somebody here. At this point, if there's no objection, I'd like to have Mr. Downs come up and testify, and I'll go sit down in the chair and we can ask him some questions and in part have him testify in narrative as well. So these, I will ask to be made part of the record and hand them over to the town clerk. Just for the record, once this is done, I have all these records scanned in, I'll send them to the clerk and we can put them up on the website, so they can be made a part of the official record and so that people can see them.
Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Downs, if you could raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony about the office is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Obviously, you're currently employed by the town of Riverhead,
Yes.
and in what capacity?
I'm a town investigator for the town of Riverhead.
And when did you first start your work with the town of Riverhead?
In May of 2000.
And can you walk us through, when you came in May, what was your title?
My title was ordinance inspector in May.
And what happened after that? Just, you can
I promoted to ordinance enforcement officer. Roughly, I did that job for about 5 years. And I've been town investigator now for 15 years.
Okay. Now, with respect to being a town enforcement officer, what do your duties entail?
My primary duties include investigating complaints and inspecting buildings relating to town code and the New York State Property Maintenance Code.
And would that involve investigations that would be conducted in the nature of an unsafe building or Chapter 54, and now with Chapter 217?
Yes, that is
How
correct.
How many investigations have you done in this regard, if you know?
I would say I've done I've done hundreds of investigations.
Okay. And in addition to your qualifications as, or your years, 20 years plus with the town as a code enforcement officer, are you also certified through any other agency?
Yes, I currently have 600 classroom training hours directly related to the New York State Fire Prevention Building Code. And I'm additionally certified as a code official with New York State.
And can you tell us a little more about how the certification with the New York State works?
Well, you have to get certified initially through a basic training program, which I did back in 2000 when I first got hired for the town of Riverhead. And then yearly you have to complete 24 hours a year credits toward that certification to maintain it.
Okay. And as a result of that, you have familiarity with the New York State codes, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to the subject premises, that's part of today's hearing, are you familiar with 168 Creek Road, Wading River, New York?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with that property?
During my tenure with the town of Riverhead, I've had to visit that location multiple times with respect to complaints that we have received relating to the conditions of the building.
That would be prior to this particular subject matter, this subject's unsafe hearing, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Can you, I'm gonna let you just go for a second, can you just tell us the times you've been there and what the nature of those complaints have been?
Sure, I'll run through it. As we know, sometime in October, we had a public hearing for this location in which the decision based off of that public hearing was to board the structure up. So in October of 2016, or around that time, the building was boarded up. And that's what we decided, that's what the board decided at that time. Thereafter, we received the complaint May 9th, 2017 for an open door and potential squatters in the building. The house was still in pretty much deplorable state, however, it was boarded up. We did have an open entry in which we had buildings and grounds for the town by resolution come out and secure it because we couldn't get a hold of the owners. March 19th, 2018, a complaint was opened with regard to raccoons and vermin entering the building. May 17th, 2019, a complaint was opened for graffiti on the house and the overall vacant abandoned condition of the house. Myself, I did a blighted property inspection, because at that time we passed the blighted property law, and a notice was mailed to the owner. In addition to that notice, I also mailed out an additional notice of violation to the owner of record, and we had no response.
I'm gonna stop you for a second and just ask you if you could state what address those notices, the blighted property notice and the notice of violation were sent to.
Sure. The notice was sent to Rong Fang Huang, 4220 Kissena Boulevard, apartment B4, Flushing, New York, 11355.
Okay, and that's the same address that we have on record as the last owner of record, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you receive any responses to either of those mailings?
No, I did not.
Okay. Now, jumping forward to this year, did there come a time when you were asked to look at 168 Creek Road, Wading River again?
Yes, we had another complaint, roughly around July 13th, 2020. So a complaint was opened with respect to the building being grossly unsafe and in such a dilapidated condition that the roof was emitting rain and the second-story door was ajar open.
Okay. I'm going to approach you. I have a number of exhibits that I'm going to ask that you look at. We'll go through them one at a time, ask that they be admitted to evidence, and then ultimately admitted as part of evidence here once we go through them. So, if you can take a chance to look at those.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with what's next in sequence. Exhibit 4. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that document to be?
This is a notice of unsafe building or structure dated July 14th, 2020, addressed to Rong Fang Huang, 4220 Kissena Boulevard, apartment B4, Flushing, New York.
Thank you. Going to number 5. What do you recognize that to be? Exhibit number 5.
This is the return mail, certified mailing that we received back with respect to that notice of unsafe building or structure notice.
I'm just going to ask you to clarify that that's the envelope that came back, but is there also the green card for the certified receipt as well as the mailing proof? that
Yes,
you paid for?
we received
Okay.
the whole notice back, return to sender unclaimed.
And the address where that was sent?
Again, 4220 Kissena Boulevard, apartment B4, Flushing, New York, 11355.
Thank you. Moving on to number 6. And that one's gonna be on the back because it's a photograph. I'm cheating a little bit here. And I'm gonna ask you if you recognize exhibit number 6,
Yes,
and what do you recognize that exhibit to be?
that is the posting of the property in relation to the notice that was mailed on July 14th, 2020 for the building being unsafe and unsecure.
Now, since it's a photograph, do you know who took that photo?
I took the photograph.
And that's a fair and accurate representation of what was done or what was shown on July 14th, 2020?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now let's go to number 7. Do you have it?
Yes.
Okay, and what do you recognize that to be?
This was the notice of hearing that was done in my office, addressed to Ron Fang Huang, 4220 Kissena Boulevard, apartment B4, Flushing, New York.
And I noticed that it had certain information as to how that was sent. Could you state it for the record, how that was sent?
It was sent by posting and certified mail.
Moving on to number 8.
It's a photograph.
Okay, and do you recognize the photograph?
This is the photograph of the posting of the hearing.
Okay, so that was done or taken by you on or about September 24th, when you sent the mailing out of the hearing?
That's correct.
Okay. And then finally, number 9, if you could take a look at that. And once you have that chance to look at it, if you can tell us what that depicts.
It's a photograph. I was out there on October 5th, which was yesterday, to visit the property, to make sure the postings were still there, if there had been any changes on the property. And this is just a posting of that.
Okay, so that was to confirm that the posting was still up as of October 5th.
Correct.
And what did you observe, if anything, with respect to the property at 168 Creek Road, Wading River?
Pretty much unchanged conditions. The house is in deplorable condition. The siding's falling off the house. It's severely overgrown. And it's just in a gross, unsafe condition currently.
And in your opinion, well, withdraw it for a second. With regard to all these documents, exhibits 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, were these made by you?
Yes,
And were they done in the ordinary, normal course of your business as a code enforcement official?
yes,
And would it be in your usual and ordinary course to have prepared these documents?
yes,
And were they done on or about the dates that you indicated in your testimony?
yes, they were.
I would ask that they all be admitted into evidence and be made part of the record. And if you need them for reference, you can hold on to them, otherwise you can give them to Diane, but that's up to you.
I'll give them to Diane.
Okay.
Yeah, and they need to be made available on the internet.
Yeah, as I said, as soon as the hearing's over, I will send Diane, I scan them all and I'll give them to her so she can post them. Now, Rich, I'm sorry, Mr. Downs, as a result of your inspection on July 14th, 2020, did you come to a conclusion as to the condition of this house and its fitness for human habitation?
It's definitely unfit for human habitation, most definitely.
Okay, and did you observe any indications whether water or any sort of pests were entering into the premises?
From my vantage point, I could not see that, but I had contacted town engineer Kenny Testa, who met me at the site, and he did a more thorough inspection of the property, whereas he had went to the back to do some investigating back there.
Okay. I have no further testimony for Investigator Downs. If there's some questions, I'm not sure if the agent for the owner will want to question him. Do you have any questioning for him?
Well, I thought
Okay.
Ken Tesla was coming up.
I just want to know if there was any need for any cross-examination or further testimony.
Okay.
If not, that way I can have Ken testify next.
Good.
Can you just give me the date of the 2016 hearing, please?
I believe it was
I can give
October.
that to you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I know he said October, but it was actually, I think it was actually another date.
You know, the complaint was opened in 2014, and it just kind of.
Right. I want to say January 14th, 2016 was when the last
Oh.
hearing was held.
And then, if you could just, because I see some familiar faces out here, and I know that it was, if I'm recalling, we were calling it an unsafe structure, but then it was not considered engineered to where it was unsafe and in state of collapse, which is why we could only require them to board it up. But 4 more years has passed, and with leaks in the roof and the continuing problems, I believe that someone was here to testify on that and said that they were going to board it up for now and they were going to fix it up.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted clarity on that, that's all.
Okay, Bob,
Okay.
so we're done.
Unless there's no further if there's no further questions, I'd like to have Ken Testa come forward.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Have to lower that a little bit.
same thing for you, Ken, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to offer is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Testa, you're employed by the town of Riverhead currently, is that correct?
That's correct.
And in what capacity are you currently employed by the town of Riverhead?
Assistant town engineer
And how long have you been so employed as an assistant town engineer?
since November 9th of 2019.
Okay.
Almost a year.
And had you been employed by the town of Riverhead previously?
Yes, as town engineer.
And when did you start as town engineer?
November 1990.
Okay, and there came a time when you left? And
would
when
be
was that?
July of 2016.
Okay.
Oh, I
So
missed-
approximately 30 years of working for the town of Riverhead in either capacity as town engineer or assistant town engineer, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And with regard to this property, 168 Creek Road, Wading River, New York, did there come a time when you were asked to visit the site?
Yes,
And was that on or about July 14th, 2020?
that's correct, yes.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about the inspection you did? And I understand you may have may have a
PowerPoint for
PowerPoint
you,
that
yeah.
you're gonna walk us through after we get through that?
Yeah.
So tell us what you did when you met.
Okay.
You met Mr. Downs out there,
Yes,
correct?
both, yes. Rich sought my assistance, which is kind of the norm when it involves a structure that may have structural deficiencies. It might be outside of the area of expertise of the code enforcement personnel. So as a professional engineer, I did a detailed structural analysis of the building, the best of my ability from the exterior, not having entered the building.
I know your credentials are in the report.
They are.
But can you kind of quickly go through them for the board so that we can qualify you as an expert?
Sure. Basically what I did is I did generate a structural inspection report, which I submitted to the town attorney's office, and for the sake of time, I converted that into a PowerPoint presentation, extracting some of the highlights and adding the photographs, and I can speak a little to the photographs.
I'm
So
gonna
if you
stop
flip-
you short there first.
Sure.
In addition to being the assistant town engineer,
Yes.
formerly the town engineer, are you certified, licensed?
Yes, I was gonna flip to I believe the second
Oh,
page.
good.
Of the I wasn't,
If you're
yeah.
gonna do that, that's
I
great.
was gonna, that's, yeah.
I wanna
that's where
make sure that was where you're
That's where I
going.
was getting, Bob.
Okay, good.
So,
Thank you.
Chip, if you would be so kind, right. So, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New York, and I've been licensed since 1985. I am also a certified code enforcement official, similar to the code enforcement personnel such as Rich, and I go through the same required training and testing to test our knowledge of the New York State Building Code and to keep us current on an annual basis of changes in the code. I also hold both bachelor's and master's degrees in engineering, and again, I was a town engineer for 26 years and assistant town engineer since November. And I've performed over 50 structural inspections of buildings, both for the town of Riverhead in those capacities and in the private sector.
Thank you. I'm gonna let you continue going through your report.
Okay.
And then we'll introduce that into evidence afterwards.
Okay, sure. I'm going to start with some bullet items of my findings to make it easy for you, and then I have some photographs to back those up. Just for the record, the subject structure that I was at is located at 168 Creek Road in Wading River, and it consists of a wood frame, two-story house. Also participating in the inspection with me was Richard Downs, Code Enforcement Officer for the town of Riverhead. And it's my understanding that numerous requests have been made for the current owner to correct the unsafe condition, and that the structure remains in an unsafe and structurally jeopardized condition, which has worsened and continues to worsen every day due to exposure to the elements. The structure is located in a residential neighborhood surrounded by other residential homes where there is frequent walking and bicycling and beach activities. So there are people in proximity to the building on a regular basis. My primary concern, as you'll see when I go through the photographs to back it up, is wind-blown debris. There's a lot of loose boards, a lot of loose siding, and a lot of loose trim. And one of my fears is that if we have a wind situation, which is not uncommon on Creek Road facing the Long Island Sound, some of those materials could easily become windborne and strike neighboring homes, passing vehicles, or even individuals that might happen to be out on the beach at the time. So that's one of my primary concerns. My primary concern is, or secondary concern, I should say, is that the structure is extremely close, as you'll see in one of the pictures, to the neighboring house. It's just within feet. And if this structure were to catch fire, either by lightning, vandalism, trespasses, or spontaneous combustion, that neighboring house would surely catch fire if the fire wasn't caught in a timely fashion. So that's a concern, one concern I have. The other concern I have is that the building being remained vacant and unmaintained is evidence of the vermin getting in and out of the building. It's pretty obvious that raccoons are taking habitat in the house. The neighbors have complained that they've seen raccoons on the roof. The doors are open, the part of the wall is open, and I can see tracks and digging where vermin has gotten into the building.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm still on the same, just give me one more
Yep,
second
no
on
problem.
this. That last bullet item, I just wanted to point out that in its current condition, the structure poses a risk to not only the health and welfare of the public, but also to emergency service workers that might respond to emergency situation there, such as somebody getting injured or fire. If they were to enter the building, I fear that the structural condition could cause them to be injured. Chip?
Very good, thank you.
Continuing on, you want me to keep going through, Bob?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, yeah, I keep interrupting, and I keep saying I'm gonna let you go in narrative, so go ahead.
Yeah, if you want me to stop at any point.
At any point, I'll stop you.
Yeah, or I can go back, okay.
Yep.
So most of the wood components, and you'll see at the following photographs, they all show signs of wind and water damage. And I don't believe they're going to be reusable if the building was to be renovated. I believe that most of those components are in such bad shape that the building's really going to need to be knocked down as opposed to be refurbished. And my recommendation at the end of the report is that it either be demolished, or if the applicant were permitted to renovate the building, that the town should require certification from a design professional, such as an architect or an engineer, that any of the components of the structure that are to be reused are structurally worthy of being reused. And I could go into the photographs if you'd like, Bob.
If you could, then I'm gonna come back to what
Sure,
you
then you
just
can
said
question
at
me,
the
sure.
end. I'm gonna ask you some further
Okay.
questions.
The first photograph is the front of the house, showing all the overgrown weeds and vegetation around the house. And you can see just to the right, there's a home there, and it's relatively close. And if this dilapidated house were to catch fire, certainly that would be a major risk to the neighboring home, especially if it was during the nighttime and people were sleeping in the home. So that's a concern to me. And you'll see as I zoom in on some of these areas that you can see in the picture, the siding is loose, the boarding up is loose. I'll show evidence that the roof is starting to collapse. Chip, if you'd flip to the next one.
Well, I was gonna just go, if you go back to photo one, just so we can get the orientation, if we can go back.
Sure.
So, just to be clear and for the record, photo one is a depiction looking from Creek Road?
That's correct. That would be looking north
Okay.
from the road itself. So it's the front of the house, the Long Island Sound being behind the house.
Very good, just to be sure. Okay, thank you. Now you can go.
Sure. Now, this photograph is the same vantage point. It's also the front of the house facing Creek Road. And what I'm trying to show here is that it's pretty obvious that the cedar siding, and I don't know, you don't have a pointer, do you, Chip? Do we have a pointer?
Yeah, we do have one. You wanna get
Yeah.
the pointer at the office, Devin?
It's a little hard to see. Well, it's pretty obvious, yeah. You can see in the images that the cedar siding is peeling, it's warping, it's come loose, some of it has fallen off, and wind could easily pick up those pieces that are just literally dangling there and send them airborne into neighboring homes, cars, or even pedestrians. The next picture down shows that would be the west side of the house. So I've kind of gone around to the left of the house, if you will, from the front, and you can see an opening there, and it's hard to make out. Maybe I'll just grab this pointer real quick. Thank you. Yeah, it's a little hard. The red button. It's a little bit. This is a hole. It's a little hard to see, but this is a hole in the understructure of the home, and you can kind of make out that raccoons and other animals have beaten a path. You can see evidence that there's a beaten path with animals going in and out of that hole. So that's a concern. And you can see further to the right, again, more missing siding here, exposing the sheathing of the house to the elements. The next photograph is also the west side of the house. It's the same side I was just showing you, only I moved up the wall a little bit. And you can see vines growing on the house. You can see, again, loose siding, loose and rotted siding. Chip, if you will. This is the rear of the house. So this is that side of the house facing the Long Island Sound. What's covered up here was some type of a bay window that was a result of the boarding up that was ordered back some time ago. But that sheathing is all exposed. These areas, this is boarded up, the newer looking wood. All of this, the cedar siding is gone and it's exposed plywood. The tar paper has come off, so that's completely exposed to the elements and beginning to delaminate. It's not going to last long. Also the rear, just another shot. I moved back a little to the left, this being the window that I was just pointing out. And again, the concern is loose timbers, loose plywood. The trim is starting to peel off. The next one down shows there's a second floor up on top of this. This shows the first floor. There's like a deck here with a railing, and then there's a stairway. I'll show you the next picture a little better.
Just to be clear, so photos 6 and 7 are with your back to the sound, looking south at the structure.
That's correct. And the way it's set up is there's actually a stairway from this first floor deck up onto the roof. There's no railing on the second floor on the roof. This railing is in bad shape. Granted, there's no stairway anymore. It's been removed to get up onto this level, but you know, youths will find a way to get up onto that, and this railing is compromised. If they would travel up the stairway, which is still in place, to the second floor, you'll see in another picture, this is part of it. There's no railing. There's no way, if it's dark out, to prevent somebody from walking off that roof and making a fall. As well as what I'll show you, my concerns that the roof on the second floor is starting to fail, and that potentially if someone got up there via those stairs, they could potentially fall through the roof. The top picture is on this is going to be the east side of the house, so I'm kind of traveling around. I went from the front around the left side, I went around the back, and now I'm coming up the east side heading back towards Creek Road. And what I was showing here is that, again, loose siding, but also this is the soffit, and parts of the soffit is exposed. This black area right here is completely open to the exterior of the structure, and I think we all know what the Long Island Sound northerly winds are like in the winter, and if the wind were to get up onto that, it could very easily, in my opinion, you know, begin to blow the roof off. It's not a good situation. And again, on the bottom, there's openings here with signs of animals getting into the building. I think primarily raccoons. I've spoken with some of the neighbors, and they say that they frequently observe raccoons on the roof of the building. This is just a little closer up of the trim, just showing that it's failing, it's water damaged.
Just stop you there. Photo 10 is looking from what?
So, I'm in the back again. My back's to the Long Island Sound, and you can see the stairs. When I back away a little, I think in the next photo, you'll see the second floor stairs. I think the intent was to have like a deck on the first floor there where you can see the railing, which is really not the code. It's too wide. It's supposed to have 4-inch spacing. A child could go through that easily, but that's, you know, and then there's the stairs and you get up on the second floor, there's no railing at all. So my concern there, again, rotting wood, damaged wood. And getting to the end, this one shows, I backed away, again, my back to the Long Island Sound, and this one shows the open door on the second floor. And, you know, that's, you know, just an invitation for vagrants to get in the building. And I don't believe the building, and again, I didn't enter it, but I did the best I could from an engineering point of view to try to assess the structural condition of the building. And from the next photo I'll show you, I believe I have enough concern to say that the structure is significantly unsafe. But that door is open, also exposing the building to the potential for wind to get in it and create an uplift of the roof. Well, you can see the second floor stairs, and you get up onto that second floor, and there's no railing. And the railing on the first floor is not structurally capable of preventing somebody that may run into it if youths were to get up there from falling down. And I believe this one is a little closer. I tried to zoom in on that open door. Again, not being able to enter the building and trying to assess its structural condition. What I did was I was able to see, and it's a little difficult to tell in this picture, so Chip worked with me and we zoomed in on that. When we go, don't turn to the next one yet. Go back if you will, Chip. I zoomed in on this window, but if you look at the actual report, you can clearly tell that inside this opening, you'll see the ceiling coming down, you'll see sheetrock falling, you'll see insulation hanging down, and that's a clear sign that water has penetrated the roof and is beginning to collapse the ceiling inside. That leaves me concerned about the structural ability of the roof to hold somebody should somebody get up there, potentially fall through the roof. So once this happens and water's getting into the structure, it's all downhill real fast. And if you will, Chip, on the next slide, I tried to zoom in. I don't think you can really see it. It's in the report, it's visible, but you can see that this is the ceiling of the second floor, the roof being right up here. This ceiling is all hanging down. The insulation is down, the sheetrock is down. That tells me the roof is leaking and has been exposed to water and has begun to degrade. And I think there's one more picture, if you will. Actually, we did that one. That's the zoomed in one. And then my conclusion, and again, this is extracted from my report that's on file, but it's my professional opinion that this structure is severely damaged, structurally compromised by wind and water damage, and is structurally unsound. And as such, I believe it poses a danger to the health and welfare of the public. It presents the danger to anyone entering the building, including police and fire personnel. The structure also presents a public health hazard due to the potential for rodent and vagrants to enter and occupy the building, as well as the possible injury to emergency service workers should a need arise for them to enter the building. Therefore, it's my recommendation that this structure either undergo immediate renovation with submission by a design professional of plans and certification of reuse of any of the existing building components of that structure, or that the structure be demolished.
I'm going to approach you for a second because I do have this Exhibit 10, your report. I'm just going to ask you to look over it. You had a chance to look over that?
I have.
Exhibit 10, and do you recognize that to be the same report that you just testified?
It
to
is.
Making?
It
Okay.
is.
And you did that in the course of your ordinary and usual business as a town engineer, or assistant town engineer?
That's correct.
And in fact, it was done in the ordinary and usual business as town engineer?
Yes.
And you did it on or about July 14th?
July 14th,
2020?
that's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Now, I noticed in the report, you recommend immediate renovation. What does immediate mean?
Well, I think the building should either be immediately demolished or that a design professional should be required to enter the building if there's a intent on the owner's part of potentially trying to rehabilitate the building. I think there needs to be a further study. I couldn't get inside the structure, of course, so I couldn't gauge whether every single component in the building is not reusable. So either the building needs to be demolished quickly, or it needs to be assessed by a design professional that can get inside and a plan submitted to the town showing that the building's gonna be renovated in a timely fashion.
Now, based upon the open window that's on that back north side and the evidence that there's been water infiltration, that would lead you to believe, though, that there's structural damage, there could be mold, there could be other problems with the structure. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious that water has begun to deteriorate the building. I doubt many of the components within the building are reusable at this point. They've been exposed to the weather just too long.
Okay. And based upon that, it would be more likely that demolition would be the appropriate thing unless there's something done immediately. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Now, I noticed you also made reference to New York State Building Code sections. Can you indicate, one of them is 107.2, which is unsafe structures?
That's correct.
And is it your opinion that this is an unsafe structure?
It is.
Okay. And you also made reference to 108.1. These are both New York State Building Code sections.
That's correct.
And that's referred to as imminent danger. Is it your opinion this building poses an imminent danger for the reasons you set forth previously?
Yes, it is.
And again, to avoid imminent danger or collapse, would it be your recommendation that either immediate repair take place or demolition?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask that that be made part of the record today and as exhibit number 10. You have any further questions for Mr. Testa?
Yeah, I do, but if you can just hold on. I have 3 quick questions. Do we have live electricity going into the home? Is that
No.
very critical to understand, the gravity of this and possible fire or, we get a storm?
It
Do we know
appears,
that?
it appears the electricity's been disconnected at the pole.
Okay, because we
Yes.
did see that wire, and if it does. The
I
other
thi-
thing was, do we have squatters that does the neighbors seen people coming in, going in recently? Well, I guess if.
I believe the neighbor to the west is prepared to offer testimony to that effect.
Okay, so that's something that we have to consider if you're gonna go in and take down a blighted home. Unfortunately, because we're under COVID, we have the governor's mandate that you can't go in, so we have to classify it. And Bob, your research is further, that it's a blight property, it's been going on for, quite a few years. And, my last question is, you did a great job.
Thank you.
On your report, it's good, it's comprehensive, you can understand it. It'd be good to number the pages, simply because any legal document, you wanna know what the entire document consists of. So sometimes we like to do, especially since we're using it as evidence, a lot of times, when you have these, when you have reports, you can put down I think your document was 16 pages, so 1 of 16 is your first page, 2 of 16.
Sure, yeah.
And that way, cause
Case a page falls out, yeah.
on the legality, they go, well, how many pages is it? Did you put pages in, take pages out? And that's, I'm not an attorney, but I do know from testifying and
Sure.
evidence that is something that we usually add to it, but overall, thank you, you did a great job.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to question him at all? Okay. I would ask that that report be made part of the record and handed over to the town clerk. Can you do that, Mr. Testa?
Certainly.
But if you could just handwrite the amount of pages on it before he turns it
Oh, you want to
over.
do that? Okay.
And he can handwrite it and,
All right.
on it, that's perfect.
You can handwrite pages, yeah. Is it Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Do you wish to offer testimony at the podium?
Certainly, I should go off.
Yes, please.
Hey, Mr. Watson, and can you provide us with your full name and your hamlet, please?
Yes. My name's Thomas Watson, and I'm 156 Creek Road. I live next door on the west side.
Okay.
And
Mr. Watson, I'm going to stop you for a second, ask you to raise your right hand. Is the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes, it is.
And again, I'm going to let him testify in the narrative, and if we have any further questions, we can ask him afterwards.
Well, certainly the gentleman before gave a very thorough, what's happened this summer. But I've been there the whole summer, so 4 times I had to chase young, teenagers out of the property. And at one point, they were quite aggressive, so I did call the police, who came and made that report, whatever they do. And I'll just verify about the rodents and raccoons and that open window. They have gotten in there, these kids, and you know, they've spray painted, you can see, you know, like crazy things that they've spray painted inside the building. So it just seems very dangerous, and it makes me very nervous, again, because, you know, a fire, I'm not as close as the people on the east side, but I'm certainly close enough. So I just, everything that they said is how it is.
Mr. Watson, I have a couple questions, and I'm sorry it's kind of a little bit cumbersome the way it's set up, but you're testified that there are vandals or kids getting into the premises. How
Yeah.
are they entering?
Through that window. It's very easy to jump up on that back balcony where the bad railing is. I mean, young kids can just jump up, pull themselves up, and they get in. So there were quite a lot. I know there was like 4 at once, you know, all whatever they were up to in there, I don't know. But they went inside, and it's pretty beat up inside, because when I moved in 14 years ago, I think what had happened is they had started to do renovation in there, and for whatever reason, they stopped. So it is totally torn apart inside, whatever the wind has done or whatever, but there were no walls, it was just open beams and quite derelict, I suppose, even 14 years ago when I was snooping around.
Couple follow-up questions. You've been there for 14 years.
Yes.
Have you seen any construction activity other than boarding up of windows?
No, that was the only, I think very early on when I moved in, I think some people came and tried to tidy things up, but there was also a moment when there was a lot of leakage, whether it was the cesspools, I'm not sure, septic tanks or whatever, but that was, the leaking water was stopped, and they tried to fix things up, but generally nobody's around.
Now, that's interesting. You're testifying that there was leaking water. Was it due to plumbing or sewer? And
Well,
was it coming out of the house?
Yeah, it was actually coming out of the ground.
Okay. And approximate time period when that took place? Do
I
you know?
would say maybe, I mean, that was before it was even boarded up, we reported that. So, I mean, that could have been 8 years ago.
8 to 10 years ago, would that be
Yeah.
approximately correct?
I
And
think
again,
so.
you haven't seen anybody attempt to do any renovations or address that issue, have you?
No, I mean, the water stopped leaking, so they must have done something.
Okay. But
not
again,
that I
no
saw.
construction, no repairs, no
No,
replacement of
nothing at all.
appliances, no
No.
replacement of wood,
No,
nothing like that?
no. It just seemed this summer there've been so many more people on Creek Road with, you know, they can't go to the mall, I suppose. So there were just a lot of kids around, lots of groups of kids hanging out around it and, you know, slipping in and going out to the beach and then climbing up and carrying on.
Okay,
I have
that's it,
nothing
Bob?
further, no.
All right, thank you, Mr. Watson.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else want to add? Anyone from the audience?
Oh, I have, I'm sorry, I was sleeping here. There were 2 of the neighbors who sent emails.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Estelle Robinson, who
Yes.
lives 2 doors to the east, and Lou Magnan, who is 1 door to the east and right next door. I would ask that their emails be made part of the record. And Ms. Robinson also asked if I could read her email into the record, if I may.
Yes, and her, I know that these letters were received by the clerk, they're also online at well.
Yep. So, from Ms. Robinson. Good afternoon, my name is Estelle Robinson. My husband and I live at 176 Creek Road in Wading River. Our home is 2 doors away from 168 Creek Road. This house is not only hazardous with numerous safety violations, but it's a haven for raccoons. For several years, both we and our neighbors have spotted many of them entering the house, on the roof, going down the chimney. These raccoons have decided to use our home as for their latrine. Almost daily, my husband has to remove their droppings, wearing a mask since raccoon droppings are known to be toxic. We have tried everything possible to prevent them from coming back, including repellents, motion lights, water sprays, and even trapping. Nothing has stopped them from returning. We are seniors, and this situation is very worrisome. We petitioned the town board to correct this unsightly and unsafe structure. Thank you for listening to our concerns, and we hope you can do something to address this situation. This was an email sent on October 5th, 2020 at 12:42 PM. Also, as I said, there were two emails from Lou Magnan Senior. One was on Sunday, September 17th, 2020 at 9:49 PM. And the other was on Sunday, September 27th, 2020, 8:44 PM. He's asked that both these be posted, and I would ask that they be made. Also exhibits 11, 12, and 13 to this proceeding.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, no problem. So I think we're moving forward with that, and we're gonna go into the, tax bill, is that correct?
Well, I have one question. Do you want to leave open for any written comment, or do you want to close the entire matter at this time?
I understand that you were gonna address the tax bill and you're gonna address the deed. Are we done with that?
Yeah,
I mean, I can
the
close
tax
meeting
bill
now.
the tax bill has been paid.
Okay.
As that was, the third item I introduced into evidence. It was the current tax bill.
Mhm.
That tax bill, was in fact paid on January 10th of this year. The first and second half taxes were paid at the same time, and they were paid by, a woman who represented herself to be the wife. Her name is Litang Huang, and she's the one that related that her husband had passed away in 2012 in Taiwan without the will. For the record, there is present in the room today a representative or an agent for her. I'm going to spell his name because I'm not sure I can pronounce it right unless he wants to go to the podium and identify. It's Xiong Adam, I could do that one. Zhuang, and he was here as a representative to hear the proceedings. As indicated, she did contact me today and made representations that she wants to hire an architect and address the situation, and rectify it as best she can. In our discussions, I will be very honest, I told her it's more likely it's gonna need to be demolished.
Okay, hold on a second. If he wants to come up and testify, why don't we have him come up, Bob?
Yeah, why, if you wanna put,
So
you
come
wanna,
on in,
can you go on the
swear him
record?
in.
Sure.
Yes, state where you're from and, your full name, and then you can swear him in and he can make statement. He can make an official statement in this regard.
Thank you, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
All right, so if you can state your name and your address.
Sure. My name is Adam Zhuangxiong. I live in 15010 71st Avenue, Kew Garden Hills, and that's zip code 11367.
All right, I'm gonna ask you if you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right,
Uh,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Actually, I just got a notice from the owners yesterday. Mrs. Litang Huang, and she's the wife. Actually, I got information that due to the inheritance, it's not found any settlement yet. So actually, I've been give them to the drawing from the architect in the office on, I think it's September 2016, after the house was bought it. Due to the inheritance wasn't finally completed yet. So the house was holding up there. But then right now, so I had a conversation with them last night, and so they are pretty much sure they are okay to making house safety first issue, and to have the house whatever need to be done to making house safety issues first.
Okay, so we need to know what your relationship is to the owner.
I'm the contractor.
You're a contractor.
Yes, I was born in their house before.
Do you have the same name and stuff? Almost?
Yes, almost the same name as before.
Yeah, 'cause I noticed that you have the same name.
Before I wasn't here, 'cause my assistant come over here to have the meetings in here.
So you're the contractor and you're before this board to say on behalf of you're representing the owner, and you wanna state that, they have submitted plans to possibly renovate this home. And then Bob will have to take it from there, because right now.
Well, we haven't received any plans yet. I don't think they've been submitted to the town. Have you submitted plans to the town?
Not to the town yet,
Okay.
for the final plan.
And I know that your assistant was here in 2016 when we had the prior hearing. You have not been here previously,
No.
is that correct?
No.
And you haven't been to the property?
Yeah, I did went over there several times.
And when was that?
I think, what is it, one, the time we bought in the house, and
That was
even,
in 2016 then?
yes, and
Okay.
also, I don't have exact dates on that, even after that, I went over there one of the time, just, making sure everything's fine, and I saw the front door was secured, by someone else, so that's all I know is that.
Okay. And you heard the testimony from the town engineer, you haven't been, or you cannot, I'm sorry. So
I
you-
remember the house, yes.
Yeah, so have you seen the house in the opening, where it's open now?
Yeah, I
on
saw
the
that,
side?
it's on the second floor.
You saw that as well?
Yeah, because actually there wasn't the staircase from the rear yard to the second to the top of the roof on the first floor, and due to for the safety issues, we had to remove that staircase. So I think no one can exit into the second floor, and for the safety issues, and also we had the raining by 2x4, 2x3, whatever the wood to board up for additional safety. And but then we did remove the staircase from first floor to the second floor. I don't know how the people can get onto the roof. And and all the first floor we have been secured and with the board. And so
And I know,
I saw the pictures that you just saw. I saw that the one on from front of the house, you could see that the small rooms is the second floor bathroom. I saw that there was a little siding is off, and also the soffit is off a little bit. That could be fixed. And yeah, we can apply for the permits to get emergency fixing the house.
I would highly recommend, as far as whatever evidence was presented here, especially from our engineers department and the attorney and the code enforcement officer, that you have to consider that. It doesn't appear at the moment that the house is repairable, and you might not wanna spend the money going through the repairs when it might be a knockdown. That's something that you have to consider with a licensed engineer and an architect, and you have to make contact with the attorney's office. You haven't provided anything as far as possibly remediating the situation, but does any of the board members have any comments?
Yeah, I wanna mention that your associate was here in 2016 and said the same exact thing that you're saying right now. And I assure you, if I lived next to your house, I would not be very satisfied with being here 4 years later with the house in worse condition than it was then, nothing done about it. I fully support this house get demolished and get a rise in the property values, because all it's doing is decreasing the property values for your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna agree, to me, it certainly looks like a tear down, but I'm wondering, because it did sound like there was an option allowed for them to submit plans. Bob, let's say they submit plans, what's the time frame though? Because the point is, I mean, this has been brought up and it's been years since then, so what is the time frame if they should submit plans?
well, I'm going to ask that the board take up a resolution at the next meeting. I have told the owner of record, the wife, that it is my desire that I'm hoping the board will take up a resolution at the next meeting, October 20th, to, in fact, move forward with taking it down.
Okay, so.
I think the point that Ken testified is, and I don't know if Ken's still here, he's still here. But just to clarify, while Ken feels that there might be immediate remediation, because he couldn't get in, he's unsure how much of that structural integrity inside is actually going to be able to be reutilized. And in his report, he's recommending that if there is any reuse of any of the materials, that there be a certification that they are in fact suitable for reuse.
Yeah.
They may not be.
So-
In fact, based upon the elements, it's probably not likely.
So I'm reading the minutes from the 2016 hearing when your associate was here, and it says that the feces is what was concerning everybody, and the mold, and the lead paint, and the shingles flying off the house, and the rodents, and everything else that was living there, and Mr. Zhang said, yes, and he said, so we already hired somebody, bagged up and removed the debris inside. The door has been locked, bolted, the windows are all closed up. It's just we haven't boarded up the house because we are still waiting for the permit from the building department. We still are waiting for the drawings to be finished. We already spoke to the building department since November. Does your client have the financial resources to rehabilitate this house? Yes, is how you answer, or your associate answered back in 2016. So, we would need an administrative search warrant in order to get into the house, which we didn't have the ability to do. And I think that we need an engineer certification within 2 weeks saying that the house is structurally sound. And if it's not, then we'll be prepared to order it a knockdown and knock it down.
I
Because the
think,
complaint in 2016 was that it was an unsafe structure or unsecured structure. And the deck and the railings on the outside were hazardous to the squatters that were living there. Because no one has lived in this house since Hurricane Sandy, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that I think that 2 weeks' notice is enough time for you to get an engineer in there, if our engineer can't go in, to deem it an unsafe structure at this point, 5 years later. And if we can have that letter within 2 weeks, then I would also put a timeline in to get the building permit in and get the house rehabilitated immediately under a strict time frame. And if not, then we would move to have the house knocked down, and we would pay to have somebody do it, and it would go on your tax bill, or your client's tax bill. This has been going on too long. We heard it last time, that there is no will, who gets the house, there's this wife, there's that wife, this is completely out of hand. And the fact that these people have had to live next to this for all these years is a crime.
I actually understand that the neighbors and stuff in the house is condition of it like this, but actually around 2016, we've been cleaning out all the exterior, handrails, the staircase, whatever. So anything can be causing hazards, and including the interior of the house. And I'm pretty sure the structure should be fine, and I will have the architect engineer get into the house ASAP to clarify all the condition of the structures.
Okay, well, the minutes
I
from
got
2016.
about 2 weeks I will have to do that.
The minutes from 2016 from your associate said that they had the money to refurbish it, and that they were going to get the plans done and refurbish it.
Actually, with 2016, I think we got an order from the Anthony to have the house in the.
Here's the
And
minutes.
actually, the inheritance wasn't getting to the final yet. So, but then 100% sure they are ready to making sure the house is safe. That's the first issue.
The
And for the
windows are still-
interior, and I'm not sure how far, I can't guarantee on that, but the plan was done on 2016, I think end of the September or something like that, once the house was bought from the architect office, and I have the sketches over here on my hands too. So I was talking to them for the renovation. I will get the back and to see how fast they can finish the house completely.
When was the inheritance complete? When was that taken care of? When was that finished? You said that came through. When did that happen? How long has that been?
Which part would you? I'm sorry, I didn't
That
catch it.
settled. When was that settled?
This one, I'm not the lawyer. I can't even tell you exactly days on that. It's supposed, because it's like a couple of years already, and I have no idea what exactly days it's going to be on that. But then, so they have been contacting me. The wife is going to pay the first to get in making house for the safety issue, for safety first.
Well, so 4 years.
Councilperson, if I could just chime in, just so I don't lose that thought. With respect to the estate, what I was led to believe from Ms. Wang is that he passed in 2012, and that was in Taiwan. It was without a will, and that the estate or probate proceedings or administration, I'm not sure how they do them in Taiwan, is not wrapped up. There is no, I asked her if she has any document that shows who the appointed executor administrator is, and I was told there isn't any yet. So I'll verify that and confirm it with her, but my understanding is those estate proceedings, probate proceedings, whatever you want to call them, are still out there, not resolved.
This house has been blighted for at least 8 to 10 years.
Exactly.
Waiting for estate hearings in another country or here, or people not sure. We need to ensure that the residents that live on that block, the ones that have been enduring this for this long period of time, we need to take care of our residents. I'm really not too concerned with estates having to be resolved somewhere else in another country. Your responsibility is to upkeep your property regardless. That's in violation of town code. The other thing is, you don't really need an administrative warrant to go in there. You're here today, so is our engineer, can he get access to look at the inside? Let's
Well-
solve this right now, because I'll leave it open for public comments and for us to decide in 2 weeks. But we need to move on this matter, and we should not elongate this anymore. Can they have access? You told me you have access, you're representing, you're the contractor. The engineer's here, and our deputy engineer's here, our code enforcement is here. You're claiming that the inside, it is possible that you can mitigate it and remediate that. Well, they're here now. What can you do about this? Can they have access to the house now?
The
Right
house
now?
is completely sealed and is boarded and sealed. So
Seal
definitely the
means
on-
taking out a piece of wood so you can walk through a window or a door.
no, all the windows and the doors was nailed and they were bolted from the interior.
Okay, so that's why I recommend that we either get an engineer's report saying that the house is sound, that
Definitely,
it's ready to be renovated and finished, or you let our town engineer within the next 2 weeks. I want that letter within 2 weeks.
definitely within 2 weeks, the owner will have an architect and their engineer to inspect the house.
Yeah, and if we don't have an engineer's letter in 2 weeks, then we're gonna probably make a
Sure.
motion to,
Sure.
I think we should start on
Yeah,
the
they
search
do
warrant right away.
really want to make the house
And
safe
start on the
first.
search warrant right away.
Well, I also
Well-
don't wanna see a little bit of renovation start and then stop, and then here it goes much longer
Well,
again,
that-
and that's
yeah.
another concern.
And that's what happened last time. They went and they fixed the railings, and they fixed a few planks in the deck, and then let it continue to rot and be boarded up.
I
not just-
hadn't had any information about this case until recently, but, it looks from all the evidence that was put forth today that it is horribly unsafe, not just for the passersby, but especially for the neighbors. And I would move to, knock this down. I would not wanna live next to it as well, and I feel bad for the people who had to go through this and endure this for so long. So, you have my full support.
It's not just how it looks, I mean, it's just so unsafe, I can't even imagine, let's say I had grandkids out playing, I'd worry about anybody near there, even the kids that are getting in there when they shouldn't, they certainly are taking a risk.
I don't wanna see one of our Wading River firemen or firewomen go into a situation there and get injured because of the condition of the house. I'm against 2 weeks. I'm saying, let's put that resolution up and let's demolish.
Okay,
This
so.
has been, this has been 4 long years since we heard the same dog and pony show. I'm ready to move on. Let's get rid of this house.
I'm ready to move on. I really, the inheritance, you're violating, codes.
The other thing I would just bring up is we're getting into the fall months where the wind shifts from the south to the north.
Right.
I live along the North Shore. I know how blustery and strong those winds can become as we get closer to winter. And the way this structure looks, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole roof blew off.
Yeah, and we saw concrete evidence here today that it is in very dire need. There isn't.
And I do understand that, and I have been through probably more chapter 54 application or hearings than most of you have been through. And I've partaken in the decision to knock down a house after we had an engineer's report saying that the house could not be repaired and was not structurally sound. And I think that we should have a discussion with the town attorney about the liability for the town if we should just decide to go in and knock it down without an engineer, giving us that information.
That onus is on the owner of the house to provide that to us. That owner has had years to do so, has not done it, so I still support, resolution to demolish the house.
And we also have a town engineer confirming what you're saying.
Confirming what?
That the exterior is in dire need and that it's not habitable.
I think all the houses structure should be fine, and all you need, because it's like a house exterior, I could push it on them to have all the exterior cleaned out and to have all the exterior of the house with security. What I'm saying is that remodeling for the exterior, for the new siding, whatever. Even we change all the whole house, the siding for exterior, making the house looks good. Because I believe that the structure should be fine.
I have a question. When were you first retained by the wife to look at this house?
Excuse me?
When were you first retained? What year?
What year?
Yes.
I think 2015.
So, and you heard testimony or words from a neighbor that there had been a flooding or a sewage issue there.
No.
Were you aware of that?
No.
Okay. And you heard the testimony from our town engineer. Do you have any reason to refute or object to any of his findings?
Actually, even the points of the pictures on that, it's all the small area. I don't think it's really big. I don't think it's a really big problem for the house, for the whole house and the structure.
And-
So
and then would
definitely I
you-
will have the engineer and the architect get into the house to verify and everything. And I'm
Based-
good.
Based upon your confidence level and how confident you are that it's structurally sound, would you have any objection to recommending to the owner that we be allowed to inspect it at the same time?
Yeah, I got contact the owner and I have their
If-
architect
if-
and
If you're that
engineer.
confident it's structurally sound, why not allow us to take a look at the same time?
Oh, yeah, I could, once I set up the appointment with an architect or engineer, I could contact you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem, because there's nothing hidden, because definitely want to get in house for the safety. Because all the exterior you really want, I could, get the house exterior complete renovation for the house, for the exterior first, making house. First was safe, second thing is for the neighborhoods and looks nice. That's what I can promise.
So if the board's okay, maybe we'll recommend the town gets access to the house within a week, and any reports, engineering reports within 2 weeks to us. Otherwise, we move forward to have the house demolished.
Or to get a search warrant based on the testimony from 2016 that a window was open and that there was water damage inside that could have structural problems on the inside, so that we could get a search warrant and get the engineer in there if we aren't allowed access within a week.
Okay, can we agree to that? Or,
If you're telling us that's a legal route to take.
I don't want to make a legal statement on the record. I hear what the councilperson's saying, and I understand her concern. I don't want to discuss that in open forum here. I'll take that up with the board later. But again, as far as the witness, you're going to recommend to the owner that we do be allowed to come in and at the same time as your engineer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's deal with that first.
right, and
Okay.
the matter will be resolved within 2 weeks. So instead of, I usually leave this open for public, the public hearing for, public, input for 10 days. We'll leave this for 14 days, and, it'll be October 20th, at 4:30 at the clerk's office, and we're gonna, resolve this matter within that date.
Excuse me, what exactly days you put in on?
I say we have a special town board meeting in a week, and if we don't have access, then we move to,
That's an option, and we can discuss that, absolutely.
yeah, we have 1 week.
So
Get
you,
an engineer report and get us access.
We can move to 1 week, I mean, I prefer to move, I vote right now, if I had a choice, so.
if you,
it
if you're putting
depends.
to 1 week, today is
So-
Tuesday, and I only have Wednesday, Tuesday, and Friday, and Monday. So, cause I have to set up appointment with an architect and engineer, see who's available at that time, so, and I can inform you to get in house. So you gotta give me 2 weeks.
You've had since 2016, which is when you said that you were gonna go in and take care of
2000
this.
2016, we got a working permit to secure in house as required at that time, and meanwhile, that the owner did has a drawing from the architect in office that time, but then just because of special reason, so they didn't go forwards from that time.
So these people have had to live with that since 2016, when it says in the minutes in 2016 that you were having construction plans made up and you were gonna bring it into the building department. And you haven't done it since 2016.
Because the reason is because they don't set up for the final for the inheritance that time.
This is, the.
That's
It still hasn't
because that's
happened, so
that's the
that's not
car
gonna
issues.
matter.
They don't even wait. I understand Mrs. Huang, the one, and what is that? She gave me all the information about that one. The way she gave me to the order to keep going to fixing the house right now. That's all I can tell. And also that definitely they want to have the house doing the right way. That's the reason. They got the floor plans and design from the architect office, by the architect office.
You heard earlier that there was a lot of notifications made by the town that were ignored also. And we don't wanna start another 4-year round. Then we're talking 12 years. This is way beyond. Riverhead should be able to to address these type of obvious, code violations and violations, you know, to the people in the surrounding homes. And we don't have any more time here. I'm sorry to tell you, sir. We don't have any more time here, and we need to resolve this. And
Yes.
right now, there's two people that we can vote on it right now to move forward. If we want to extend it for a week or so, Bob, are we able to just vote on this now, or,
I don't have a resolution
No,
prepared for the
resolution
vote.
has to come
I'm
up. Okay.
gonna be very honest.
so we'll start the resolution process regardless.
All right.
And, you know, it is a public hearing, we heard you, and we'll give you the 1 week. An engineer can easily come in, our engineer can come in and just a visual inspection and just touching a few things and prying a couple of, tools into the wood would know that the frame is sturdy enough to hold the foundation of the house, the rest of the house. So that's a very easily in one visit, the engineer. You said it's not available today, then make it available to the town engineer within the next week, or bring your own. You have that option, so.
Yeah, just promise that definitely within 2 weeks, you gotta give me some time to actually, because I only have, you just give me a couple of days and I have to contact the architect and engineer. Because, you know, even I represent the owner, you gotta give me a couple of days more, because
Our
today's
engineer can
Tuesday.
do it.
And I'll definitely 2 weeks, I'll make it happen.
Our engineer can do it. Our engineer can go in and do the inspection if you can't get an engineer in.
Just give us access. We're asking you to give us access if you want.
I think I still have to have the owner's own engineer get in the house. And
You have
definitely
that
want everything
option, but help us resolve this. If not, we're just gonna go.
So you want to have you only want to have to be done in 1 week?
Yes, we'll move it down to 1 week.
Is the wife in the States or is she in Taiwan?
Oh, no, she isn't here.
She isn't here?
Yes, she's in Queens.
She's in Queens.
She's in Queens. I think that there was a mistakes for the address when I heard it. B4 actually is on the, I just verified the address last night, it's on the B2.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
not
in
sure.
that Kew Garden address, or where was it?
Their address is 4220 Casino Boulevard, apartment B2, Flushing, NY
Okay,
11355.
Okay,
That's the only difference. That's all I can tell.
all right. Is she watching this
You
hearing?
have that?
Was that?
Is she watching this hearing? The owner.
I'm not sure.
She can watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I'll
the
go
last
email.
time, I think it was apartment A11 that it was sent to in 2016, so now it's a different apartment, B.
I just get verified from the text message. That's all I get. Yes, I definitely I would say I prefer to ask you to give me permission for 2 weeks to get it 100% to get done. I will do it as soon as possible, and I will stop by the house when I finish the meeting over here. So I'm checking out, and I will contact the architect or the engineer. If I can make an architect happen, only, and that would be okay. But I do really
We're ready for
ask you
next
for
week.
2 weeks. Give me some time.
Yeah. So we're gonna give you the 2 weeks. You need, before you leave here, to speak to our town attorney and leave him all your contact information. Your email, your.
Yeah, I can
your-
give him
I
already.
have that.
I give him
And his
already.
I have it.
phone
I have
number.
his email.
And
Yes, I
when he
did.
reaches out to you, you need to respond
Yes, I
back
did
to-
it.
No more certified letters for years that sit there.
No, we're just
on
coming down
Casino
over. Even
Boulevard.
today, I'm coming down over here. Even, yeah, I did give it to him already.
So, you wanna give him the 2 weeks?
Yeah, just give me 2 weeks, please.
And
No
the
more
next
than
town-
2 weeks.
The next town board
I would
meeting,
start
we're gonna
drafting
draft
the resolution anyway to demolish it, just in
Oh,
case he
absolutely.
doesn't.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
He said he's gonna do that.
Absolutely.
So we'll put him through the resolution to demolish it, and we'll vote on it in 2 weeks. You're not here, that's it. We don't have a
Sure.
certified engineering report. This is it. You've reached the end of that ladder. Next time, the house goes down.
I think you understand that we mean business at this point. I mean, we have to protect all our.
I understand it. I do understand it. So I just say 2 weeks, and get in the house and inspect it, and
Yeah.
whatever the paperwork we need to submit to the town, I will working on the paperwork too. At the meanwhile,
There's 4 of your neighbors here.
Yeah, so
all going through this for many years.
I think
You might owe them an
met
apology.
I met her before. I guess right? Because I have very bad memory. Maybe, yeah. But I think I met her before. Yes.
Okay.
I understand the neighbors. I really understand the neighbors. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll
All
make
right.
an action on
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from anyone? You want to?
I just want to make a comment.
Can you come up to the podium, please, and identify yourself, your hamlet?
Terry, you'll have to, we've gotta keep everybody separate.
Hi,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
my name is Peggy Loscalzo. As you can see, I work for Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
I live on the block, and I love the block. I love the area. I have written to the homeowners several times, more than several times, to see if they wanted to sell the house, so we could get something done about, you know, the way it looks, the way it's unsafe. I'm going back about 8 years. I remember seeing water just running out of the house. Evidently, at that time, no water was shut off, and the pipes burst. So the water was running all through it was running out the doors, and somebody called the water authority, and they turned the water off. But this has been going on.
Ms. Loscalzo, I'm sorry.
You have
I
to
walked
swear
away
her in.
from some testimony about you have to do the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
So I just wanted to put in, you know, that I have tried to contact the homeowner with letters, to see what they want to do with the house, because the people on Creek Road are we're getting frustrated. We don't know what's gonna happen.
It's
So-
affecting your property values.
Oh,
I can tell you what's gonna happen. In 2 weeks, we're gonna be here with a wrecking ball, ready to move down to Creek Road, so.
thank you.
Well, going forward,
Supervisor, I think we have at least one person in the Zoom room looking to make a comment
Absolutely.
on this. If we're ready for that?
yep,
Okay.
and they need to identify themselves, please.
Right, so Chip, I think you can bring forward is it Magnan? Okay,
Oh, he was here last time.
This is the new chat rooms that we got now, that we don't have to have everybody copy.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
You-
He
you
won't be
put 'em,
visible,
like,
Chip?
For hearing or resolutions.
okay, great.
Good.
So we're changing his status from an audience member to a panelist. There's just a slight delay, but he'll be up on the screen in a moment.
Everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon, town members.
Lou, let me just interrupt you. We need you to just state your name and your hamlet, please, for the record, and I'll remind you that it's a 5-minute comment period. You can make all your
Sure.
comments in 5 minutes, and then the board can respond afterwards if they so choose.
Yes,
And I'm also going to ask Mr. Magnan if you would swear that testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Louis D. Magnan. I would like to provide some comments which may be redundant to prior testimony by Messrs. Downs and Testa. My wife and I have owned the property for approximately 18 years. I am the property that sits on the east side of the building. The property's deteriorated over the last 18 years and find it to be not only a hideous sight, but one that's very dangerous. I will enforce the comment about the wind that was provided by Mr. Downs and Mr. Testa. My structure in the front room experienced the loss of where the vinyl siding was actually taken off the building. It was the original structure, which was just a one-room building with no bathroom. That building was lifted because the sonotubes were not attached to the rafters that run along the underlining part of the property. That caused $39,000 worth of property damage. As probably everybody knows, we've done significant improvements to our property, 172, east of the building. The site is literally a heartache, a hideous structure that is likely not only dangerous from a structural standpoint, but also an environmental hazard. I would suggest to the town that any inspection by the town engineer or the engineer representing the property owner, that a environmental hygienist be hired to take testing of the interior structure. That will provide evidence whether or not the property can be remediated in any shape or form. I personally work in this arena. I'm a forensic accountant. I've worked on hundreds of million-dollar cases downtown Manhattan relating to remediation of all of the financial district resulting from Sandy. I've provided previous testimony working in New Orleans with Katrina and provided testimony about how this site was an accident about to happen in my last testimony some 3 years ago. The structure has been uninhabited for 12 years, to my knowledge. We own the building. We bought about 18 years ago, 2002. It has been inhabited, based on prior testimony, by raccoons, squatters, and other hazards, which I understand perhaps the chief engineer saw in person, where he was required to wear a hat next to the property. The property is overgrown, infested, and basically, if you were to believe that the owner has provided any efforts at remediating the property, they haven't even cut the grass once since 3.5 years ago. There's 3 feet of grass across the street, weeds, grass. There's 3 feet of grass around the entire structure. I'll confirm there's shingles that end up on my property. I'll confirm the ingress, egress issues resulting from people stopping their cars and entering my property and or next door, 168, attempting to get access to the beach. The structure provides no benefit to its owners and is hazardous to my family and that of the neighboring properties. It is time for the town to take affirmative action to preclude any liability resulting from an unforeseen event occurring at the property. To say that this property does not have exposure to either fire, wind, or another hazard is ridiculous. I mean,
Mr. Magnin, 30 seconds. 30 seconds left.
Yes. I plead with the board to make a decision to destroy this property. There's been no evidence by the prior owner to do anything. They haven't cut the grass. They're not going to get a chief engineer to respond. We're not going to get an environmental hygienist report in 2 weeks. It's going to take time to do that. It's just ridiculous to assume there'll be any action by the current owners. I thank you for your consideration and services.
I just have one question, Mr. Lustig. You mentioned something about $39,000 of damage. Was that caused from removal of whatever it is, of certain parts of the house, the damage?
No, it was actually, it was because the front part of our structure sits on sonotubes. Those are like cement tubes. Underneath the structure, it was a one room structure, right? The wind came from the north at about 70 miles an hour over the sand dunes and lifted the structure. So I was only giving you that information to, back up the prior comments by Mr. Downs and Mr. Testa about the potential exposure as far as fire and or wind that could cause, floating debris in the air.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
That was his house, I think you
It
were
was his
saying.
house, okay. Okay, so, anyone else wanna comment?
We do have one person who's come in to Zoom via the telephone, and we can't utilize the chat feature with folks coming in on the phone, so we'll ask that person to, if they're looking to comment here in the public hearing section, to hit *9, and that will enable the raise hand feature. Have they done that, Chip? Have they hit *9?
Yeah, ask them to unmute themselves.
People on the phone with phone number ending in 1714, if you're looking to make a comment, you could hit *9 or *6
Unmute
to unmute.
and unmute.
You getting any indication that they're doing that, Chip?
Okay,
They've raised their hand.
so
Okay.
they're coming in.
Nine is raise hand, and 6 is mute. Phone number ending in 1714, if you can hit *6, that'll unmute you so we can hear you, if you're looking to make a comment.
I am not looking to participate in this particular
Oh, that sounds like
public,
Robert Blair.
public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, no problem. All right, so. Okay, we'll now close this, portion of this hearing, but we'll leave it open, for written comments for 14 days until 4:30 on October 20th at the town clerk's office. This concludes the, public hearing portion of our meeting. We'll now move on to, public comments on the resolutions before us today. Does anyone wish to be heard? Devin, is there anybody in the Zoom, any of the, chat rooms concerning resolutions?
Yes, I believe we do. So I believe we have two members of the public in the meeting room looking to make a comment on resolutions. First one is Matthew Glazer. Chip, we
Okay.
can promote him to panelist status, which will allow him to, I think, be visible up on the screen. Mr. Glazer, can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Great.
Okay, if you could state your name and hamlet for the record, please. You'll have 5 minutes to make your comments, after which the board may respond.
Great, thank you so much. Matthew Glazer with Bold Media, with regards to the resolution number 8 for the approval of the Riverhead Holiday Light Show. As the members of the board already know, this event is now back for its 3rd year. In the past, it's brought a number of people from all across Suffolk County and Long Island, not to mention, of course, Riverhead and the surrounding communities, to the property to enjoy the mile-long holiday light show. It's obviously become something of a holiday tradition, not only for the residents of Riverhead, but for those in the surrounding communities. It's a great family-friendly activity that we continue to see growing attendance at each year. I should also add that each year, this now again being the 3rd year of the show, we've taken the initiative of changing about roughly 50% of the displays to brand new, never before seen attractions. So there's always something fresh and enjoyable for the community. We've obviously seen over the course of several years now a large number of families come through the show, and we continue to receive a tremendous amount of positive feedback. And we've seen a lot of comment already for anticipation for what this new year would have in store for us. This permit was submitted a number of months ago and was submitted in its entirety, complete, a number of months ago, and we had some back and forth with some representatives of the town to satisfy their concerns, which were taken care of. In addition to that, I also would like to add that, again, now this being the 3rd year in a row, we've had a tremendous amount of time and opportunity to see how the show actually works in the real world and with the property. And we've never had a traffic situation that's resulted in police getting involved. There's never been an incident with the property and with regards to the light show. We've really just been here doing a great job, I would say. And I think many of the residents of Riverhead would agree. as would their children, who are mostly the ones that come to enjoy the show. Obviously, it's a family-friendly event. But we're very excited to bring it back, and we hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. That's all I wanted to say.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I know that you mentioned that there has been a conversation with the town. You can, we put it back in the chat room. However, it was due to contacting the governor's office. We've been in conference calls. They were concerned on the social distancing. They wanted to find out the footage, the cars, is it one car? How many, cars apart are they gonna be? And that all's been resolved, so.
Okay, next person we have looking to comment on a resolution I have here is Ellen Hoyle. Chip, we can elevate her status. Ms. Hoyle, can you hear us?
Yes.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hi there, yes. If you could state
Okay,
your name
my
and hamlet for the record, as usual.
Yep, my name is Ellen Hoyle, I'm from Riverhead. And I'm here to comment on Resolution 524. And I'm here to request that the town board please consider tabling this resolution. I've watched the October 1st meeting, work session several times right now. It was only because of the article in the newspapers that I learned of the nature of the proposed resolution. That it was calling for the destruction of the Norton House in favor of the apartment buildings rather than its relocation. No reason was stated at the October meeting as to why it could not be go forward or why it could not be placed on town property, as had been previously suggested. No explanation as to why it was no longer feasible as stated was either given. The Landmarks Preservation Commission is being ignored in this matter in favor of pure profit. Despite the destruction, the builder thus there saving $70,000, the IDA has granted additional benefits. Now, as the statements made by Councilwoman Giglio, the matter was not described as conditional approval at the meeting on the work session of October 1st, as to the house. She at no time stated it was being worked on. In fact, the only condition had to do with the amount of fill being just declared. If you have seen any public comments on Facebook or on the website for Riverhead Local or the News Review, you will see that there have been no comments in favor of this proposition. There have been 267 comments to date as of this afternoon. All of them have been negative. There are 325 indications of opposition. The articles have been shared over 34 times, and at no time have those articles shown a favoritism. Therefore, I would again request that you please table this resolution for further discussion. That's all.
Great, thank you.
And I would like to respond in saying, when you say that the landmarks have been ignored, we did have a work session on this. It was discussed. There was a preliminary conditional approval saying that they would have to put up the $70,000, and I have been working with the Landmarks Commission every day trying to find a new location for this. We had a location for it next to Sal Mangano Funeral Home. It didn't fit there. So we had to scramble last minute and find another location. The other location was discussed. It was discussed that it was going to be, we were going to move it behind the 2nd Street Firehouse, and that Mr. Castaldi was taking it. It increased the cost for the move, number one. It also requires about 70 lines coming down. I reached out to Local 25 Electrical Union, who is reaching out to the union contractor that does all of the traffic lights throughout Suffolk County. And they are prepared to raise the traffic lights and fix the traffic lights so that the house could get under. They're going to do that free of charge. I have had several email correspondence with Verizon, with Cablevision, and with PSE&G, because everybody needs to be there on the same day, at the same time, the house mover is moving the house. There were discussions with the board about a location, a possible location to bring that house to, if that would be amenable to the board individually, and it appeared that everybody was. The resolution last Thursday had the condition in it. The resolution that's here today is different than what was on our computers last Thursday. Last Thursday, it said they were going to give the 70,000, and the board is fully aware that I've been working diligently on this for a month. But it did not fit in the location that it was originally planned to go to. So we had to come up with a new location, which we have done within the last 2 weeks. So hopefully, that's still going to happen. I'm not supporting this resolution today, as an email that I sent to the board this morning, saying that if it's not in there that they have to pay the 70,000 for the move, and it's not in there that, you know, the town board is going to allow it to go on town property behind the 2nd Street Firehouse that would be donated to Mr. Casaldi, who owns that property, then I would not support the resolution today. And I'm not supporting it the way it's written. Because there's too much work and too much time has gone into it with the Landmarks Preservation Commission and with all the utilities and the moving company, including 5 meetings with the moving company to find a suitable location and a safe way to move it, which would require now that we had a meeting today, it would require now that they would have to go down Main Street, down Roanoke Avenue, to 3rd Street, and then make the turn to get it into the lot, which would require shutting down Roanoke Avenue. So now we have to get in touch with the ambulance corps and the fire departments to make sure that shutting down Roanoke Avenue and Main Street while we're trying to move this house 3 blocks west and 3 blocks north. No, you know, we don't even know how long that's gonna take. They have to take all of the utilities off the poles and lay them down in the street so that the truck can go over all those utility wires. The estimate to move it across the street from Verizon was $13,000. Now we're talking about many more poles, many more wires. 5 trees have to come down. The light pole on the east side of Roanoke Avenue has to be removed temporarily. All of the signs along Roanoke Avenue going down have to be removed temporarily, which they can be. I mean, that's the easiest part of the task of moving this house. But we are still working on trying to have that done at a cost of $70,000. And I have reached out to all the utilities and asked them to donate their services, and I'm waiting to hear back.
Okay, so we are here for a site plan. At the moment, what the councilwoman is describing is gonna take a long time. That's now between the prospective person, the builder, and right now, we can't hold off a resolution for people to start demolishing a house, and not give them site plan. We need to move forward with this. I understand the concerns, the National Landmark, and I have to report here, the SHPO report, they stated that there is no, based on their review, they only recommend removing the roof edge overhang, and that was the only historical component. Concerning us giving town property to private property so they can build a building, I'm not too sure about that. We have to look over the legality of it. But we cannot stop these developers from developing. We're here now. We need to move forward. This is just on the site plan. If later on something materializes, we can all ratify it and we can move forward. So I'm asking the board to please just consider the site plan here today. And that's what we hear. And later on, again, if the councilwoman is able to bring this to fruition, that's fine, but we can't stop this. And I did personally speak to the owners, and they needed to move forward today. And I invite the planning department up, Greg, to speak about, you know, this building and where we are.
Okay, we do have somebody else in the room who's just raised their hand looking to make a comment.
No problem, we will.
Oh.
All right, good afternoon, board members. Greg Bergman, Town of Riverhead Planning Department. I am available to answer any questions that you have relating to the scope of the review.
From what I understand, the property owners wanna move forward with the site plan, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and have they indicated to you that they wanna move this house?
The applicant has stated, and it was a condition of the preliminary site plan approval, that if a suitable location is found within the town of Riverhead, they're willing to provide up to $70,000 in order to help fund that move.
And currently, they're seeking a site plan, correct?
Correct. Now, I mean, the site plan resolution does sort of imply demolition of the structure. As Councilwoman Giglio has stated, you know, she's gone through extreme efforts to try to, you know, find a feasible location for this. You know, that's not so much a planning decision. You know, we are reviewing the site plan application.
Right.
The preservation of the house is on the town board. And, you know, the bottom line is, if a feasible location is found, you know,
Does that stop us from voting on the site plan today?
Yes,
No.
because
And-
there's
and then-
nothing in the resolution that says that they're gonna pay the 70,000 and that they're going to not demolish the house. They gave us until October 15th, that's 10 more days to get the house moved off the property. That was what was agreed to, that they would pay the 70,000 and that they needed to demolish the structure or start with their site plan October 15th. And that was removed from the resolution that I read on Thursday. And now it has all new language in it.
Actually, in MinuteTrack, the resolution tracking system, it tracks any modifications that are made. This resolution was last modified on September 30th, which was a Wednesday. So this resolution before the board was in its current form. It was not modified prior to the meeting.
Well, the one that I read said the 70,000 was in there, and it said, as per the preliminary conditional approval, they would put up the $70,000 and that they would, you know, not demolish the house.
We have to look at the legal component of it. First of all, it takes a huge amount of effort to move a building. The developer wants the building demolished, from what I understand. We need to do logistics on this. We need to involve the state. And this is not gonna happen in 2 weeks. If it does happen miraculously, then we can move forward and let the builder agree and we can do a resolution. This is not holding. They wanna move on. I personally spoke to them a couple of hours ago. They want to move forward. If within the next few days we're able to get to where we need to, all I'm asking the board is, we can't hold these individuals anymore. Let's just vote on the site plan. If in the future something materializes, we can do a resolution and we can ratify it. We can do it in a matter of less than an hour.
You're giving them final approval without the requirement of them paying 70,000 if we find a suitable location and we can get it moved. That's why I sent the email this morning asking that the resolution be changed and that the final approval state that if we find a suitable location to move the house to, which is the same as the preliminary approval, I said I didn't wanna hold them up either. We could vote on the resolution. We can amend it to say that they have to pay the 70,000 if we find a location prior to October 15th.
So are you saying you're not changing the time frame, but you're putting in this amendment?
Right.
Okay.
That would be a simple enough amendment. I mean, I would recommend, if that's the will of the board, right after the resolved, where it says resolved that the final site plan is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions, we can insert that language right in number 1, so it's first and foremost, that if a suitable location is found within the town of Riverhead for the relocation of the existing Norton house located on the subject parcel, the applicant shall agree to provide a maximum $70,000 to assist in funding the efforts to relocate the structure.
Okay.
That would just be reiterating the conditions of approval from the preliminary approval.
Thank you.
fine.
That's all I'm asking.
I would support that.
I think that
We
seems
can support that.
reasonable. I mean, I think we're in agreement that none of us wanna hold up the applicant, but, I think that,
So-
I agree
so
with that.
it-
I would agree to that.
Would the board like to take this resolution up as amended? And I
As
can put
amended.
that, I can put that language in MinuteTrack in that first resolved as condition number 1.
Okay, and we still, I think, believe, Chip, that we have another person in to make a comment. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you. Very simple. It's not holding them up. It's what we agreed to all along.
Okay, we have somebody else in the Zoom room
Yeah,
that's
but
gonna be
how do you
elevated to panelist.
Yeah, well, he
I believe
wanted
it's
it
Mr.
out,
Kent.
so
He wanted it out.
Can you hear us? Chris,
So-
can you hear us?
Hi,
I'm here, can you hear me?
Okay.
yes.
Yes, I just wanted to make a couple of comments to kind of respond to previous comments made. First of all, this was not anything that was done by the applicant. The applicant has always stated that they're willing to relocate the house if a suitable location has been determined by the town, and that we will contribute $70,000, up to $70,000 toward the relocation expense.
Right.
So that has not changed. We're still holding true to that. We have been working with the Landmarks Preservation Commission since September of 2019, discussing this idea of relocating the Norton House. And we're still standing true to our word that if a suitable location is determined by the town prior to our issuance of a demolition permit, we will assist with that relocation up to $70,000. So it's really been on the town since then to determine a location, and we will work with you to relocate the house, but it has to be done within a certain time frame because we need to start construction. So we appreciate, we'd be glad to add that condition in the final resolution, but you know, there's not a lot of time. We're probably going to be seeking a demolition permit sometime right after closing, and we're looking to close on the acquisition next week.
Wow, okay. All right, thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Chip?
I think that's it, right, Chip?
Okay, moving forward to the resolutions. Diane, can you please call the remaining, call the resolutions, please?
Supervisor, somebody did just raise their hand. Did you want to acknowledge that, or?
Okay, I guess
Is
that'll
there
be the last one.
Okay. It's the phone number ending in 1714. Need to hit *6 to unmute yourself. *6, one more time to unmute yourself. Hello, can you hear us?
Okay, Chip, if we can't get them, can we just, text them back and say that? On the phone, yeah, let them know that they can do it in the general comments, because we still have another opportunity at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. So, Diane, can you please read the resolution?
Resolution 493.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Can somebody else read it, please?
Of course it is.
You see what I'm doing?
I know,
there, right?
I know.
I'm answering
I know.
PSE&G, who's asking me questions, so I got out of the screen.
You want me to read it?
read it?
Yeah, she does.
Please. Wayfaring Signs, project number 72003, budget adoption, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 494.
East Creek budget transfer, so moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 495.
Budget transfer to purchase of police K-9, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
And again, thank you for the contributions for the K-9. Chief is very appreciative. Yes, Chief? And so will Morris be. So thank you very much. And we have a new dog. Yes. What's his
Aguirre.
name?
Loki, L-O-K-I, okay.
A shepherd, chief?
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 496.
Water District Test Well, Program Project Number 81851, Budget Adjustment, so moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 497.
Amendment fee waiver request for special event Marine Rescue Center 5K Run for the Ridley. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 498.
Refund request of special event application fee for New York Region Sports Car Club solo driving event, so moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 499.
Ratifies the approval of special event Chapter 255 application for Our Future Generation. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 500.
Approves special event chapter 255, application for Bold Broadcasting, Riverhead Holiday Light Show. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 501.
Authorization to publish and post a notice to bidders for streetlight and traffic signal maintenance repair parts. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 502.
Bid award for uninterruptible power supply for the Riverhead Police Department. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 503.
Ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 1, upgrade to sewage treatment plant, contract E electrical construction, Calverton Sewer District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 504.
Ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 1, upgrade to sewer treatment plant, contract P, plumbing, construction, Calverton Sewer District. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 505.
Ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 1, upgrade to sewage treatment plant, contract S-Force, main recharge basin construction, Calverton Sewer District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 506.
Ratifies the supervisor's execution of change order number 2, upgrade to sewage treatment plant, contract G General and Mechanical Construction, Calverton Sewer District. So moved.
Vote.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 507.
Authorization to correct typographical error, 2020 annual construction contract bid award. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 508.
Authorization to correct typographical error, 2020 annual procurement contract bid award. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 509.
Accepts the resignation of a part-time office assistant. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, before I vote, I want to quickly thank Frank Shackle for her time here at the town. Fran worked part-time in my office before the pandemic, and she's now retiring. And Fran was a great worker, and she was a wonderful addition to our office, and I wish her all the best.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 510.
Ratifies authorization for the town clerk to publish and post a help-wanted advertisement for an automotive equipment operator in the sanitation division of the town engineers department. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 511.
Authorizes additional compensation for Justice Lori Holt. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
And Justice Holt has certainly been stepping up and helping in this interim. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
She's been wearing 2 hats as 2 judges and doing 2 judges' jobs, so yes, absolutely.
Giglio.
Yes, and it's not costing us anything, and, God rest Alan Smith's soul. And, Lori's doing her best to pick up the pieces behind. Yes.
Aguirre.
I just want to mention before I vote that she's been spearheading virtual arraignments, and she's doing very well, and she's also taking on a much larger load since the passing of Justice Smith, and we thank her for her work, and that's a yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 512.
Ratifies and authorizes an employee to attend fire training. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Mr. Greenwood attended it already and passed with flying colors. Congratulations.
Yay.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 513.
Appoints a part-time Spanish-speaking clerk to the office of the town clerk. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
C.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 514.
Accepts Highway Superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel request. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 515.
Accepts Highway Superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel request. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 516.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a retainer agreement with Lane M. Bupka, Esquire of Bupka Law Group for legal services for the Riverhead Youth Court 2020-2021 year. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
This is a great program. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes, he does a great job. He and his wife. Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes, I was at their open house, and so was Councilman Hubbard, and this is a great program. It looks like it has a great start this year under the COVID circumstances. They went virtually, and I vote yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 517.
Authorizes Lawrence M. Levy, DBA On-Site Productions, to provide additional cablecast production services regarding production of program graphics and live stream cablecast transmission, non-pro time. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 518.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an amended agreement authorizing the town to accept funds from Suffolk County Office for the Aging for the purpose of supplementing the town's nutritional program for the elderly. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, thank you, Suffolk County.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 519.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a stipulation of agreement with the Riverhead Town Benevolent Association. So moved.
Seconded.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Glad to get this done for our PBA. Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
I thank the PBA for working with us. It's been a rough year for us financially, and this actually spreads out the payout over the years to come. So yes.
Aguiar.
Yes, and both unions, the SOA and the PBA, you helped us balance our budget tremendously, and we renegotiated last year's contract on SCAT pay, and they came forward for us, and I thank you.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 520.
Authorizes.
Oops, that's me.
Sorry.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a stipulation of agreement with the town, the Riverhead Town SOA Supervisor Superior Officers Association. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Also glad to get this done for the SOA. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, much appreciated to the SOA and the PBA. We appreciate this highly. Yes.
Giglio.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 521.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute professional service agreement with Ernesto Rossini, PE Consulting Engineer, PC. So moved.
Anything?
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 522.
Resolution and consent approving the dedication of highways known as Acorn Court, Little Leaf Court, and Drainage Area Wading River Woods Associates LLC, also known as the Horizon at Wading River. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, this has been kind of a long time coming. It was nice to get this done, so yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 523.
Okay.
Okay,
Somebody
oh,
wanna
did-
read it?
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with New York Power Authority, NYPA, for the installation of electric vehicle charging stations in the First Street parking lot. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Always glad to have power stations for electric vehicles. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
They cost us no money. This was a free endeavor from NYPA, so absolutely, we appreciate it.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Again, this is gonna be no cost to the town, they're free, we just have to maintain the outside. And if I'm not mistaken, we're the only East End town that was selected for this, and moving forward, it's great, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 524.
Grants final site plan approval with conditions for the site plan application known as 331 East Main Street, 331 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-129-4-15. So moved.
I would
As
like to
amended.
amend the resolution to include the final statement that, our planner, Mr. Bergman, had presented to us, where the $70,000 would be in there, that we would have that money available to us to move the house prior to the demolition. So, I move it as amended, or I second it as amended.
Okay, and if you look on the second page, page 159 in the package, it is in there. It is suitable, if a suitable location is found within the town of Riverhead for the relocation of the existing Norton House located on the special parcel, the applicant shall agree to provide a maximum of $70,000 to assist in funding. So it's in this resolution.
I think that was, referring to the preliminary conditional permit. It wasn't in the final site plan approval. It was just reciting what was said in the conditional
Right.
preliminary approval.
That is correct, Councilwoman. As I recommended, we will put that in. I don't have the page numbers from your packets, but I have it here. It'll read, resolved that the final site plan is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. Condition number 1 will now be amended to read, if a suitable location is found within the town of Riverhead for the relocation of the existing Norton House located on the subject parcel, the applicant shall agree to provide a maximum $70,000 to assist in funding the efforts to relocate the structure. So it will capture that within the conditions of the final approval.
Okay,
Thank you.
so vote please.
Sure.
Did somebody second it?
I
Yes.
seconded as
Okay.
amended it.
Good.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes, as amended.
Hubbard.
Two things. I want to thank Jody, Councilwoman Giglio, for putting all the time and work into this to try to save this house. And it's not over yet, but it's pretty close. She worked tirelessly on this, and I don't think anybody up here, and I don't mean to speak for the board, but I think we all supported trying to save this house. We just couldn't do it on the taxpayers' money. And that's what caused some of the problems here. We would have loved to have seen it moved and saved. It would have fit in beautifully on East Main Street between Magano's and the Preston House to Howell House. It would have just classed up that street even more. But as tirelessly as Councilwoman Giglio tried, it just couldn't come to fruition. I have read all the blogs and all the comments from the people, and I don't disagree with you, but knowing how it had to happen and how it couldn't happen is why we're in this situation today. So I do vote yes for this.
Giglio.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say, if anybody else has any property that's closer where it's not gonna cost as much money that you want to, move this house to, it needs about $250,000, $300,000 worth of improvements to it. Needs a foundation put in, you gotta hire an architect, get the foundation plan, so I'm hoping that it does come to fruition, and Mr. Castaldi will be putting out a lot of money in order to make this happen. There would have to be special board meetings coming up if we did get the utility companies to agree to do it pro bono, like the, traffic light people did. But if anybody else has property that they want to put this house on, please feel free to call me. We are looking at alternative locations because it is very expensive to move this house. The estimate from Verizon, I think, was $85,000 with all of the, that's just one utility to lay the lines down, where the past was $13,000. So it's, we're hoping that they work with us and that they donate their time. It's a full day that it's gonna be to move this house, and they're gonna need the technicians there to do it. So I'm hoping it comes to fruition, very hopeful, and I will vote yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, absolutely, and I agree with Tim. A lot of effort went into this, and hopefully it does happen. If it doesn't, it's up to the,
It wasn't for lack of trying.
no, it wasn't for lack of trying, you're right. And, as amended, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution,
Just one point on that last resolution. I think the feedback we received from the community really was illustrating to us once again how our community would like us to maintain the historical, look of our downtown, our Main Street.
Resolution 525.
Ratifies authorization for bow hunting for deer on town property at Enterprise Park at Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-135-1-7.33, et al., 1751 Sound Avenue, Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map number District 600, Section 60, Block 1, Lot 2, Middle Road, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map number District 600, Section 80, Block 2, Lot 10.1. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 526.
Ratifies approval of Open Space Committee update for Suffolk County Master List. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yeah, I just want to take a quick minute to thank the Open Space Committee. They worked really hard and quickly to get the updated master list together to Suffolk County. So thank you to Janice, Julie, Nancy, Marge, and Charles, and of course Anne-Marie Prudenti, who helps keep the glue of the team together. So yes.
Kent.
You know, I used to work with that committee. They're a very hardworking committee, really dedicated to our town. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, and I'd like to thank Karen from the Suffolk County Division of Planning who afforded us this opportunity, and now we can move forward and have an updated list, and I think some good things are gonna happen from this.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 527.
Adopts a local law to amend Chapter 275 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Stormwater Management and Erosion and Sediment Control of the Code of the Town of Riverhead. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 528.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice for a public hearing regarding appeal from denial of wetlands permit for premises located at 48 Willow Street, Aquabog, Suffolk County, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-87-1-014.000, pursuant to Chapter 295 of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, and this public hearing is scheduled for November 4th, correct?
Yes.
And we published it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 529.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public hearing on the special permit application of the Long Island Solar Generation LLC, NextEra Solar. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Yes.
Bayrock. Okay. Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes to the public hearing.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 530.
Public hearing for painting Plant 10 water tank capital project. So moved.
Vote please.
Seconded?
Okay. Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 531.
Pays bills. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you, Diane. That concludes our resolutions for today. At this point, we will open up the forum for the public to make any comments on any matter. Devin, is there anyone in the Zoom room?
Yes, I think we have at least one person. I know the phone number ending in 1714 has indicated they're looking to make a comment during the open comment period. So if phone number could hit *6 to unmute themselves.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Hi there, can you hear
Hi.
us?
Hi.
Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Blass, and I live in Jamesport. And I did want to comment on Resolution 524, which was the final site plan approval of 331 East Main Street. First, I know there's been tremendous efforts, and I totally commend each and every one of you who's trying to see that this structure gets preserved. I also know that there's an ambitious time frame on the part of the applicant, and such that the two can come together and somehow have a meeting of the minds. It would be wonderful. The community is very much endorsing any and all efforts to try to save that structure. But my comment has to do with something else relative to that resolution. And we know that the resolution itself was written before the October 1st work session. In fact, that was just validated by the planning staff. But being that it was written on the 30th, it recites a discussion that led to a determination made on October 1st. So that's curious in and of itself, but then what's even more curious is that those particular discussions never actually took place on the meeting of October 1st. There wasn't one mention of the Norton House during that meeting. So specifically, I'd wonder how you get a resolution presented to the board memorializing a discussion and maybe forecasting a determination in the first place, and then it's compounded by the fact that the discussion never took place as stated, and your current resolution still retains that whereas that talks about a discussion that never took place. So I'm suggesting perhaps that paragraph be amended or removed. And I also question whether the planning board has the authority to grant an extension of a site plan which was approved by the town board in an urban renewal area. And if not, that resolution also needs to amend that aspect, which is, I think, on the last page, page 9.
Okay.
Bob, do you want to comment on that?
Is that it for comments from Ms. Blass? Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was in something else, so I wasn't paying attention to the,
She's
full.
just talking about amending, there was some, this is a comment section, so,
There's some dates and some criteria, I guess, that were incorrect in the resolution.
I heard the comment about October 1st. I would say, you know, it was probably anticipated there would be a discussion, and it could be considered dicta, and not necessarily, it's not necessarily binding as far as the final decision. As far as the planning board amending, or now it's starting to hit the prior site plan approval, that would be something that would be within the urban renewal agency. I'm not sure. I don't have the wording in front of me, but maybe it would be just how it was a planning board recommendation, if that's the case. So I don't think the planning board, if it was a site plan that's in front of this board, would have the ability to extend the time period. That's for sure. Legally, that would not be the case. Our site plan ordinance says that with respect to urban renewal areas, that's left to the province of the town board.
okay.
So if it says something differently, maybe it was a mistake that it should say Riverhead Town Board, not Riverhead Town Planning Board.
Right, no one else in there?
Okay, I think we do have somebody else that's just joined, Mr. McAuliffe. We'll elevate him so he can unmute himself. Hi, John, can you hear us?
John, unmute. You might still, yep, there we go.
Okay, thank you. I've been watching on the television version, so I've just come on now.
Okay.
I want to raise a question.
John, sorry, we
Oh,
need your
John
name.
McAuliffe, sorry, John McAuliffe from Rolling Woods in Riverhead.
Thank you.
Want to raise a question that I don't know to what extent it's the board's responsibility even, but on November 5th, the planning board is going to be looking at the property that has come up in some discussion in the news review on Route 25, the property where the principal is a man named Arik Kislin. Mr. Kislin has enough of a reputation of having been associated with the Russian mafia that it torpedoed a big deal that Caesars was making in Boston for a gambling casino, and then the Colorado Gaming Commission also insisted that he withdraw from a casino there. I mean, it's all in a little bit nebulous area because there's never been any specific court action regarding this allegation. But I'm wondering whether there is any point, whether it's the planning board or the town board, that the question of his past associations, his political donations, I noted in a message to the board that he had given, that Hillary Clinton returned $4,000, a political contribution. Apparently he's made a political contribution of $5,000 to the Riverhead Republican Party. I don't know whether it's returning that money. But I think there's a question of whether there's any way that the town can look at the question of his associations and whether they relate to the use of that land. It obviously, the land is both, has to be considered on it in terms of its own development, but also it has a joint border with the EPCAL land, and the attorney for the Germaisians in the second round of the Q&E was the same person who was the attorney for Mr. Kislin. So there's enough of an overlap, and as I wrote to you, there's another overlap in that principal in this deal that fell apart in Boston was somebody who had deep ties with the Florida, the Seminole company, that gambling company that the Shinnecock are now talking about collaboration with. So I think there's just so much involved with this that I'm wondering at what point the town can actually look at whether it has doubts about Mr. Kislin being an important property owner and developer in Riverhead.
Certainly, John, this is, I think this went to scope, there was a scoping session on this. Did they have it, or it's coming up?
Coming
at the
up.
planning
November
board?
5th.
Yeah, I think there's a scoping session. The planning board is looking at this, but this is a massive project that I think we will be taking a hard look at. So thank you for your comments, and we will certainly, I think it's something of concern for all of us.
So it will come back to the town board.
You know, I'm not sure. We'll have to, I do know it has the scoping session coming up. I don't know if it comes back to us.
I don't think it comes
It
back
shouldn't
to
come
us.
back to the town board. It's a planning board action.
Right.
It's a site plan that's outside of the urban renewal area.
Mm.
Last time I checked, I'm not sure we can deny somebody rights of ownership because of speculation or unfounded claims. When we start doing that, I guess I'm gonna start worrying about the US of A. Now, I know that with respect to gaming, there's always a further and more detailed inquiry into somebody's potential involvement with something that's nefarious or unseedy or questionable that might affect them. But again, we're dealing with somebody who has some rights of ownership to a piece of property where they're doing something that's totally unrelated to gaming. At least that's what's been represented. So I'm not sure I fully understand the question, what you're asking the town to do, in light of the fact, as you pointed out, there's been no, judgments, no findings by a court of law to point that this person somehow otherwise disqualified to own land in this country and the state.
I think, just to be clear about it, this project is going to have bigger problems than the reputation.
There are other issues here, obviously, no question.
Yeah, you know,
This is a-
water and
this is a
sewage
very
and
big
other,
project.
he's got a lot of
That's
heavy
an
lifts here.
aside, but
Yeah.
once you start attacking the person as opposed to the use, I mean, law of zoning is always based upon the use, not the user. And we seem to be getting more involved in looking at the user as opposed to the use. And certainly the use is going to be a principal focus here. The scoping is going to be looking at all the repercussions and potential environmental impacts from the use. Again, we're not looking at the user, we're looking at the use.
And for me, I was referring to the size of the project.
Right.
I think it's
No, again,
I think that's a 30-acre project, correct?
30 acres.
Yeah, 30, it's a massive project, and John, you should, take your questions to the planning board, because they are looking at it.
Okay, great.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, we put that.
Okay, before we close, I have one thing
Sure.
I want to say, if there's nothing else.
No, I think we're off this topic, right? All right.
I just wanted to mention that, Frank and I both spoke today at the Suffolk County Legislature via Zoom, because the board knows that they were looking to preserve 2 parcels in the town of Riverhead. One is the Schmidt Farm, which is a working farmland, and the other is open space, which is a Wells property. And I did receive word that the Suffolk County Legislature did unanimously approve the acquisition of those 2 parcels. So I think that's good news. The more farmland and open space that we can preserve in our town, it's great for us economically, environmentally, and of course aesthetically. So I wanted to take a moment to thank the Suffolk County Legislature, and particularly Al Krupski, for moving forward on these.
Yes, and I want to thank Frank for initiating it by writing a letter to Legislator Krupski asking to preserve the Wells Farm, so.
Yeah, that was the 11-acre piece. This is the open space piece that's right next to the North Fork Preserve.
Right.
And they are relations of the Wells, original 1861 Wells, but Catherine's right. Thank you to the Suffolk County Legislature. This benefits all of us in Riverhead as well as in Suffolk County.
And of course, the Schmidt Farm, we want to be able to keep farming going in our community, and we want farmers to be able to pass their farms down from generation to generation. And then the Wells property was actually surrounded by other open space property, so it makes it contiguous open space.
Yes.
Yes, great job, Catherine, today.
You too, Frank.
We tag teamed them.
We tag teamed.
Okay, anyone else? No. Thank you, everyone. This concludes our meeting. Can I have a first and a second to go, to close the meeting?
So move.
So moved. There's Jody and her.
Moved.
So moved?
Yes.
Come on, all opposed? All in favor? We're so moved. Everyone be safe.
Thank you.
And see you on Thursday, actually, for our work session. Happy.